Welcome to the Easysoft Family online webinar, Child Support Worksheets, Features You Need to Know. Once you create a matter, you can access the child support worksheets immediately, regardless if you've entered any information in the case data or the CIS section. Once your matter loads, you can click on Child Support Worksheets, and this will bring you into the section to enter all financial information to populate your child support. If you're starting in the child support section, you can click on Worksheet Info. This is the accordion style like we have set up throughout the software. You'll be able to enter in the plaintiff and defendant's information. You'll see at the top that it says Sole Parenting Support Order $0. As you enter in income, taxes, and other financial information, this will update and show you the child support order due to the proper party. I will come back to this after we've entered some of that information. Within the child support worksheets, it's always defaulted to one worksheet, but you can come and copy the worksheet and create as many as needed to compare your numbers. And we also offer a summary sheet, and you'll be able to compare up to 5 different worksheets in one page. I'll show you how this works a little bit later in the webinar. So what we like to do is go down to case info. My recommendation is to move from left to right so you don't miss entering any important information that's going to assist populating that child support. You have an option to change the worksheet name. This is free text here. It will always default to worksheet 1 and worksheet 2 and so on. And you'll have the option to check the default worksheet if you're comparing multiple worksheets. Whichever one is checked to default, that will be the one you'll be able to print out. I will also return back to this feature later in the webinar. You'll be able to mark your custodial parent, whether it's plaintiff or defendant. You'll want to enter in the number of children. So I'm just going to enter 2 children in, and I'm going to make one over the age of 12. This actually is going to adjust the child support, so you want to make sure that the birth dates are entered in if you're not entering them in manually here. You'll see that there's an import from CIS button right here. So if you had already gone ahead and started in the CIS section and filled in the children there, you can click on the import and it'll import the amount of children, and if any are over the age of 12 according to their birth dates. The next section down is the number of annual overnights. You can enter in the overnights for custodial or non-custodial, and you can enter them in manually. So let's say I enter in 200 overnights for the custodial parent. It's going to automatically set the non-custodial to 165. If you have parents that are doing shared custody and doing equal parenting, we do offer the equal parenting option here, and this respects the Wunsch-Defler case. So if you click on the equal parenting, it'll explain this to you that it's going to do 50-50 overnights. When I click yes, it's going to calculate out and it's going to set both parents at 183 overnights. We do offer the parent of primary residence income test, and this is only required for the shared parenting worksheet. So you can enter that information here to make sure that you would fall into a shared parenting rather than a sole parenting worksheet. The next tab over is your income. So your taxable income is the first section here. Again, we have an import from CIS button. So if you've already entered in all of the income in that section, you can import it right into your worksheet here. I'm just going to enter in some round numbers to show you how this works. So I'm going to put the custodial parent is making $500 weekly. And please make sure to note that all of these fields are looking for weekly amounts. And I'm going to give the non-custodial $3,800 per week. So as you can see down here, it's already totaling that information out. So if there's anything else that falls under this section, business or self-employment, your bonuses and royalties, overtime, part-time, or severance pay, or any imputed income, you'll want to enter that in for each, the custodial and the non-custodial. You'll want to make sure that you open each section and fill in any financial information regarding any of these fields. So we have our federal and New Jersey taxable income section. We also have the federal only taxable income. And then once you've completed that, you'll see your total at the bottom for the taxable income. Try not to forget to enter in the non-taxable income. Don't skip over this section. So any of these child support payments, interest on state or local obligation, all of this falls under your gross non-taxable income and will total at the bottom. Once you're done entering that income, you can go ahead and go over to the Alimony tab. Now, please note, if this is a divorce that is January 1st, 2019 and after, the alimony is not taxable anymore according to the federal guidelines. Make sure to keep this checkbox checked. It's automatically checked every time you start a new matter. So I'm just going to put in that our custodial parent's receiving $200 and the non-custodial is paying the $200. And again, this is the non-taxable alimony. The next tab over is your tax and withholding status. So your number of withholding allowances will calculate for you. If there's any question as to why these numbers are calculating this way, you can go ahead, click on the question mark, and this is actually going to explain where these numbers are coming from. Now, if you can justify claiming fewer allowances, you can uncheck the calc checkbox and overwrite the calculated values. You will need to show why you're doing that within court, but you do have the option to uncheck the boxes here. You can mark your the marital filing status. So we have single, married, and head of household. Head of house, again, these will adjust your withholding allowances as well. And then the tax methods are actually set according to the income. So you'll see Appendix 9-H is checked for our custodial parent, who's only making $500 per week. And our non-custodial, who's making $3,800 a week, they are set to Circ E. Anyone making over $3,600 a week will automatically be set to the Circ E option. So now we've gone through the first 4 tabs, and at the top you'll see here, this has updated. It says that we're using shared parenting and the support order is $269. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to the shared tab. I'm going to scroll down a little bit so you can take a look. And please note any sections that are grayed out, and this is throughout the software, they're always going to pull from another section. If you have any questions, you can reach out to support and we can assist with where those numbers are pulling from. So we know that number 1, gross taxable income, is just the total right now of the income that I entered today. You'll be able to enter in your mandatory retirement contributions. And you'll see that there's nothing entered in for alimony paid or received because this is the tax deductible section. So this would be for any divorces prior to and including December 31st, 2018. You'll have your adjusted gross taxable income section. You can enter in any mandatory union dues. We also have the section for child support orders for other dependents. And then in 2D, this is very important, is the field for other dependent deductions. So obviously you can see it's grayed out, but what's going to stick out to you is seeing the 3 dots in the blue square here. We want to click on this anytime you have information to enter in. So if it's for your custodial, that's the left-hand column, and non-custodial is your right-hand column. But this is going to open a new worksheet for your other dependent deductions. And it's set up the same way that you saw earlier within the worksheet. So you'll want to enter all of that information here and click Save. That'll populate properly into line 2D. The next section down is your net taxable income. So you'll see that these are all pulling in from different fields. And now you'll see 4A is our non-taxable tax deductible alimony, and 4B, I'm sorry, and that's the paid, and 4B is received. And that's pulling from that alimony tab we used earlier. So you're going to get your total for the net income. If you hover over, you'll be able to see where this information is actually calculating from. So this is a nice feature. If you are unsure and you don't have time to give us a call or hop on chat, you can hover over it and it'll let you know how it's adding up. You'll be able to see the percentage share of income and basic child support amount. You'll see the overnights in this section, and this was set on the first tab, the case data tab, and we did the shared parenting, so it's a 50-50. You'll see the shared parenting adjustments. And this section is very important as well. This is the child and healthcare expenses. So you'll want to make sure that any network related childcare, you'll click on the square with the 3 dots. It's going to open up that childcare section, and you can enter in the number of children in childcare and that cost. The next is your health insurance premium, or the child share of health insurance premium. So you'll want to make sure that you click on those 3 dots again, and this is the healthcare information you can enter in. So this is your child's share of health insurance premium, anything unreimbursed for health care expenses, and any court-approved extraordinary expenses. This section here is your parent of alternate residence child expenses. So it's going to pull in from the prior sections that we were just working in. So see that they are grayed out. But we'll see, you'll see here it says health insurance premium. So that actually would pull in from line 17 here for the parent of the alternate residence or your non-custodial parent. So you'll see here that this is the parent of alternate residence, the child support obligations, it's $269. You'll see the child support order. So the poverty guideline for 1 person per week. And then it'll list out the child support order again. And as you can see, I'm still hovering over these sections, so it's actually letting you know where it's pulling from and the information's going to. And here's that parent of primary residence household income test. We saw that on the first tab where the case data was. So now what we want to do is, after you've entered all of that financial information, it's very important to go back and go over to the comments and rebuttals and deviations tab. It's so important to read through this because this actually gives you some further information. And as you remember, we did choose the equal parenting option. So they're doing a 50-50 parenting. So within this section, it's actually going to let you know if you need to increase or decrease that amount from the child support. So first off, the child support amount was adjusted higher by $35 because one child is over the age of 12. So if you remember on the case data tab, I did put one child over the age of 12, and I said that would affect the child support, which it does. So because the child's older, they're going to cost a little bit more. It's going to increase that child support. Now, this section here, this is explaining that we actually chose equal parenting under the Wunsch-Deffler case. So it's actually applicable. It's not going to do the math on the actual worksheet, but it's going to let you know if you should add or decrease anything. So you'll see here, child support amount at line 35 should be decreased by $102 for the controlled costs being equally paid by both parents. Okay, so instead of that $269 getting paid to the custodial parent, it's going to be that $269 minus that $102. And that's something that you want to make sure you're printing out. And when you are printing out your worksheet, that you have that information ready at court so you can bring that matter to the judge. You'll see here we have our worksheet alerts. It's just letting you know exactly what we've just reviewed under the comments and rebuttals. So that the support amount was adjusted higher by $35 for the child that's over the age of 12. And that equal parenting was applied. But the details for those fall under the comments and rebuttal section. Now, let's say you're not quite sure about the numbers, or if you want to change who the custodial parent is in the case of this child support. What we can do is we can go ahead, we can click on copy worksheet. So it's going to copy all of the information that I've already entered in. Wonderful. So you'll see here, we're still on worksheet 1, and this is our default worksheet. So I did mention this earlier. This is very important. When you are starting to copy worksheets and compare numbers, you want to make sure that the one that's printing out is marked as your default worksheet. Okay, so if we go over to worksheet 2, you'll see that this is not set to default worksheet. What I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to use the button that says flip the custodial parent values with the non-custodial parent values. This could affect the child support depending upon all of the financial information that was entered in. So it's going to pop up. Carefully review your worksheets to ensure all required values got switched. And do you want to continue? Yes. So now that everything's been flipped, we're going to go over to our shared worksheet. And I'm going to show you here that now our custodial parent, who was actually our non-custodial earlier, is now making the $3,800. But the children are with this, or is this parent is considered the custodial parent. But they are still doing equal parenting. You can also change the amount of overnights. dependent upon if it really isn't equal parenting, where some, the custodial parent has them during the week and non-custodial on the weekends. So all of that information can be updated when you're working on a second worksheet. And anytime that you want to play with the numbers, I recommend copying the worksheet and keeping your first one as your main one with all of your numbers in it. And then you can play around with the that information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the bottom, and we will see the child support order is now $149. So this definitely changed. But now we need to look at those comments and rebuttals and see what occurred here. Oh, perfect. So this did change a little bit. You'll see this here. Line 35 should be increased by $27 as an adjustment for controlled costs being equally paid by both parents. So it really ends up being about the same, but you can take into account, as I said, the number of overnights. If one child is staying with one parent full time. So there's a lot to take into consideration when that child support comes along, or if they're coming back for more mediation. So what I will show you here is my summary, just so you can see. So I have two worksheets, and as I said earlier, you can compare up to 5 worksheets on this summary, but you can make as many worksheets as needed to compare numbers. So you'll see that we're down at $269 here, but remember that wasn't deducting the $102 for the equal parenting. And we're at $149 here, but that wasn't including the increase of the $27. So about the same. Again, you might be off a little bit, but this is why we allow you to compare, because you can bring what best suits your client to court, and then obviously, you know, go through those details with the judge. So earlier, I also said that, I just want to point out, I still have this set as the default worksheet, so we're still seeing our 269 at the top. So when we're printing, what we want to make sure we're doing is the worksheet is a shared worksheet, and it's going to print out the one that's set to default. So let me do and show you an example here. So here's your worksheet, and it has all of the information in it that we entered in and all the calculations according to overnights and income. So you'll see towards the bottom of page 2 is where you're going to show the comments and rebuttal section. So this will have it on here for equal parenting, that you'll decrease the amount by $102 from that $269 on line 35. If there's any questions regarding the child support worksheets or anything else in the CIS, please feel free to reach out to support. At the bottom of each page of our software, we have a support link. We have live chat from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. You can send in a support case 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can always check out our articles. And we also have other webinars available to review anything within the software. Thank you so much for joining me today.